Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is 7:30. I know I'm a few minutes late, guys. Sorry, very busy. 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast, and you have to look at my mug yet again. Absolutely, I'm here, Larry Sharpe, on the Sharpe Way Show, trying to bring you something I hope that has value. And if you think it usually does, then do me a favor. Like, comment, share. It does matter. I say it every time, and I'm not done. Please, you should be clicking those likes and loves and all the quick buttons and the thumbs up and all those things to get those algorithms going. Commenting, saying hi, what's going on, and let those comments go. And, of course, share it on your Facebook, on your Twitter, on your YouTube, whatever that is. Share it on all the internet things. You can also, of course, support the show if you like. Patreon.com/SharpeWay. $25 is awesome. $10 is great. If you got those Trump bucks, throw me $100 if you got it. I'd love to have it. It just moves things forward. And if you can't do any of that, no worries. Head over to the advocates.org human respect tests. The link is in the description. Click on that link in the description. Take the human respect test and share it around. It's free, makes me happy, sponsors happy, everybody's happy. So do that if you can. It helps tremendously. What am I talking about today? If you remember, what I've been talking about since the inauguration yesterday was the idea of reconciliation, the idea of, how can we maybe start the healing process? Is that possible? Well, I wanted to go over the beginnings, the first press briefing with Jen Psaki, who is the press secretary, the White House press secretary, and kind of talk about how she spoke and what was the good and the bad and the ugly of this. There wasn't much good. That's true. There was some bad, but there also was some ugly. There was also some things that I really didn't enjoy at all, right? I really didn't enjoy it all. And it's just, there are examples of it being better, and I haven't seen it. So let me pick it up here, and you guys, and we can talk about it real fast. You'll understand kind of where I'm going with this. You guys should be able to hear this, I hope.
Here with all of you. When the president asked me to serve in this role, we talked about the importance of bringing truth and transparency back to the briefing room.
Now, that right there, that's her opening. I want to be clear. That's her opening. Her opening is, you know what we got to do? Bring truth and transparency back to it. What does that mean? That Trump, of course, was a liar and all his people were liars. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a Democrat, I know you believe that's 100% true. No worries. A lot of people believe it's true. Republicans believe it's true. A lot of people believe that's totally true. My point is, do you have to rub it in? You don't. You could just say, I'm going to show up here and I am going to do my best to be honest and forward and true and all those things. You can do that. You don't have to be like what she just said. But that's her opening. Are we healing yet? Yeah. That's not the way you open if you want to heal, right? That isn't.
And he asked me to ensure we are communicating about the policies across the Biden-Harris administration and the work his team is doing every single day on behalf of all American people. There will be times when we see things differently in this room.
But I want you to be clear. They specifically say the Biden-Harris administration. Was this a Trump-Pence administration? It was. But it was really Trump. There's a lot of Harris now. The question is, how long does that last? Does that last for a year or two? Then we know what's happening. Is it just to be nice and placate people for the first month and it goes right back to Biden? We'll see how that goes.
Among all of us. That's okay. That's part of our democracy. And rebuilding trust with the American people will be central to our focus in the press office and in the White House.
Again, rebuilding trust. She begins with the hammer. None of this has to be said. To be clear, somebody wrote this. She's reading it. So somebody wrote this on purpose. And this is not good reconciliation, right? It's just not.
Every single day. So we had a very busy and active day today, as you all know.
Of course.
But I wanted to take a moment to go through the 15 executive actions, or highlights of them, I should say.
Now, what you just said is we have to make sure that, we change who we are from those evil Trumpsters who lied to you and broke all your trust. Now, let me tell you how we're going to kind of change everything. By the way, I'm healing. This is not, you might say, Larry, well, what are you expecting to do? I expect him to do what I do when I go into a company and have to reboot things and reorg and change things. I don't walk in and go, by the way, the guys who were before, man, they all sucked. I don't do that. I don't walk in and go, oh yeah, all those decisions that you made, they're all garbage. I don't do that. If I did that, the people who are still there would be like, wow, this guy's a jerk. I don't want to listen to him. I was there when those decisions got made. I was there when people did these things. I didn't mind the other guy before you. That's what they would all think. And I would lose them all. Savvy people realize when you're the new kid in town, or in this case, the new boss in town, maybe you should not be such a jerk about it.
And some of the steps that the president asked agencies to take today. You should have all received copies of the executive orders,
See how
as well
nice
as
she
the
is?
accompanying fact sheets. But I want to take this moment to highlight them for the American public who are watching at home.
Highlight, please.
To combat the deadly virus, the president launched his 100-day masking challenge.
Hear that? The 100-day masking challenge. That is some great marketing. I got to give him that. Right? Trump did warp speed. That was good marketing. This one, 100-day mask challenge. Come on. I know some of you hate the mask stuff. I do too. I'm just giving credit where credit is due. That's some damn good marketing right there. Well done.
Asking Americans to do their part and mask up for 100 days.
100 days.
He's doing his part as well, issuing a mask mandate that will require anyone visiting a federal building or federal land or using certain modes of public transportation to wear a mask.
I got to tell you, this one I'm not so mad at. I know somebody like, what? It's a mandate. I don't like mandates. You know I don't like mandates. But I knew a mandate was coming no matter what I did. I knew a mandate was coming. As far as mandates go, it isn't that bad. He's just saying federal. It sucks, but it sucks less than just everybody, right? So it's a bad mandate, but it could have been a whole lot worse. I'm not crying about this one. It's fine. Fine, let it go.
He signed an executive order reversing Trump's decision to withdraw from the World Health Organization.
Now, I got to say, he could have said he signed an executive order for us to join the World Health Organization. That's what he did. Was it required to say reversing President Trump's decision? It wasn't required. And you might say, well, Larry, does it really matter? It does. Because every one of those little nudges makes someone who was a Trump supporter or is a Trump supporter or someone who's on the right, it makes them angry. And they're already unhappy now because they lost the election and now they've got Biden as president. So now you're going, Now, I know the left loves it. Of course, if you're watching now and you're a Democrat, you're like, yeah, keep saying it. Punch Trump. Punch, punch, punch. I get it. You want that. But that's red meat for Democrats. Democrats, you've already won. You can just be magnanimous and go, yep, we won. That's good. This constantly giving to the base and feeding your base is not healthy. It's not for our culture. It's not healthy.
This will strengthen our own efforts to get the pandemic under control
Just
by
say that.
improving global health.
I love that. Just say that. It's going to help us for global health. Great. All the Democrats get it. They clap. Yeah, I love it. You don't got to poke the bear.
And tomorrow, we're not wasting any time.
All
Dr.
right.
Fauci will participate remotely in the meeting of the World Health Organization
Look at that.
as the U.S. head of delegation.
Nothing but good
President
for you guys.
Biden also officially appointed a COVID-19 response coordinator, a position and team we had already previously announced, but made it official today.
Nice.
To create a unified national response to the pandemic.
Look how nice that sounds. Good rhetoric. Oh, good. You didn't have to slap one Republican for that. That's not bad. That's what you wanted. You got it. No one got slapped. Let's do more of that. Do more of that.
And he reestablished the national security team responsible for global health, security, and biodefense. The COVID-19 pandemic has triggered an almost unprecedented housing affordability crisis. He took immediate action to confront the crisis.
So wait a minute. There was housing was all good until COVID hit. Wasn't housing a problem when you guys were vice president before? I think housing's been a problem for a while, but all right, fine.
and asked relevant agencies to extend nationwide moratoriums on evictions and foreclosures. The pandemic has also increased the hardship on millions of Americans.
No, it hasn't. The pandemic has not done that. The government shutdown has done that. Let's be clear on that. That's a lie. I thought you were going to be transparent and honest. Miss Psaki, I thought you were going to be transparent and honest. That's not true. COVID didn't do that. COVID hurts people, particularly the elderly, and it kills people, particularly the elderly. It doesn't cause hardships in the economy and such. It doesn't shut businesses down. Only government can do that. So yeah, let's be clear on that one.
Who owe federal student loans. In response, the president asked the Department of Education
Tell me what you're gonna do.
to extend the pause on student loan payments and interest.
Oh, Uncle Joe's going to pause it until he pays it off. I should have gone to college now. I was taking a loan real fast, so I go to college real fast, so I get Uncle Joe to pay it off. All right.
He rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement, putting the United States back in a position to exercise global leadership and advancing the objectives of the ambitious agreement. Sorry, hope you're comfortable. There's a few more.
Yeah,
and a second broad executive order will roll back harmful
She literally said a second broad executive order, and she's proud of that. Like, she's like, yeah, my executive order, so broad.
Agreement. Sorry, hope you're comfortable.
Go ahead, do the broadness. Tell me how broad it is.
And a second broad executive order will roll back harmful regulatory reversals made by the previous administration to protect public health. And
she literally said harmful by the previous administration. I'll say it again. Is this healing? Right? And someone's going to ask questions down here, I'm sure, about how is this healing. Just say, I'm rolling back stuff. I'm adding more regulations with my broad sweeping pen. I'm going to put all kind of regulations on you guys. You're a Democrat. I got it. We're not surprised by this. You don't have to poke the bear again. And that's my problem with this whole beginning. The whole entry is you're purposefully poking the bear, but you just said you're going to try to heal and reconcile. This is not healing.
The environment. This order protects our nation's treasures by reviewing the boundaries for several national monuments.
Read it up.
Places a temporary moratorium on all oil and natural gas leasing in the.
Again, she's reading this. So someone wrote the harmful and the previous administration and looked at it and went, yeah, that's a good thing to say. Let's say that. Remember, they wrote this. She's not doing this off the cuff. She wrote this out. And that's what happened.
Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and reestablishes the interagency working group on the social cost of greenhouse gases.
The social cost, I know.
He also launched a whole of government effort to advance racial equity.
We have to advance racial equity. This is broad. I'm getting scared now. Keep going.
And root out systemic racism from federal programs and institutions.
So that means establish quotas. Read that as establish quotas. You could, if you wanted to, I'm going to be crazy on this one. You could just end the war on drugs, the one that you exacerbated with the crime bill in the 90s. You could do that. That would help out a whole lot. You could start to withdraw all the horrible licensing requirements so that people in poor neighborhoods could actually advance. You could end the war on poverty. You could do that. Or you can establish quotas, I guess. Either one of those. I like my idea better, but let's see. Quotas haven't worked in 40 years. I'm sure now they will.
He directed the Secretary of Homeland Security in consultation with the Attorney General to take all appropriate actions to preserve and fortify DACA, which provides temporary relief from deportation to Dreamers, young people who were brought to this country as.
He did that. That was done nicely. No one got smacked on that one. They rotate. They do one when they do a smack, and then one when they don't? Is that how it works? We can't smack Trump and Trump supporters every time we say something. So we'll do one and we'll go smack, and then we'll say one just normal, and then we'll smack again. The problem with this is when you do one without smacking, you show you can just say what you want to achieve without having to smack the right, which is hurting now. So let's reconcile and stop doing that.
Children. The president also put an end to the Muslim ban, a policy rooted in religious animus and
you had to add that. See, it was no smack. I'm right. They rotated. They went smack, no smack, smack, no smack. So now it's called the Muslim ban rooted in xenophobia. You could just say we're reversing the travel ban. You could have just said that. We're going to reverse the travel ban because we don't like it. Okay, got you. No. Muslim ban and rooted in xenophobia. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people believe that's 100% true. Okay, if you believe that to be true, no worries. Do you have to say it? And I mean that. Did you have to say it? Couldn't you have just said it and the Democrats would have been like, yeah, those xenophobes, and your base is still happy and you don't have to say it?
Xenophobia. He signed a proclamation effective immediately,
Ooh,
halting
stuff.
Further funding or construction of the previous administration's border wall.
He had to say the previous administration's border wall. You can just say, we're not doing any more work on the border wall. Everybody knew that was going to happen. It's not like we're shocked or surprised. Just say, hey, and we signed an executive order. There'll be no more work on the border wall. No requirement for a smack at all. You've won the election. Psaki, you've won the election. Stop.
Terminating the so-called national emergency used to wastefully divert billions for wall construction.
Had to keep punching. That one was like a left and a right? So the first, the terrible wall, and then you used it, and then you wasted it, and you took it away from other people. That was like 3-4 punches.
Also today, President Biden.
You forgot which one? You almost said Obama, didn't you? President Biden, you almost said Obama, didn't you? It's fine. You wish that's true, but it's okay. You got second best. It's not bad. At least you still won. You can call him Biden. You'll be fine.
An immigration bill to Congress. The U.S. Citizenship Act modernizes our immigration system. It provides hardworking people who've enriched our communities and lived here for decades an opportunity to earn citizenship. The president's priority.
Look at that. That you didn't smack anybody with that one. I'm right? It's a smack, don't smack, smack, don't smack. That was nice. You didn't smack anybody. You said what you're going to do and you moved on.
Reflected in the bill are to responsibly manage the border, keep families together, grow our economy, address the root causes of migration from Central America,
it's amazing,
and ensure that America can remain a refuge for those fleeing.
You can do all that with a proclamation? That's awesome. Wow. Good proclamation. I want to do one of those.
Execution. With that, I'd love to take your questions. Zeke, why don't you kick us off?
You don't.
First off, congratulations. And one question about your role. You touched on this a little bit at the topic.
Now, remember something, though. The press, how are they going to act? The press got shunned heavily by President Trump. Trump was mean to the press. So let's see how they react. Are they going to be good or are they going to start smacking?
When you were up there, do you see yourself, your primary role is promoting the interests of the president, or are you there to provide us the unvarnished truth so that we can share that with the American people?
There we go. He comes out swinging, right? Are you there to be a mouthpiece for your Lord and Master, or are you going to give us the truth or not? What are you going to do? You're not going to be like that other guy who was just a mouthpiece. You're going to be honest, right?
Well, let me first say, Zeke, that I come to this podium having served both in the White House and at the State Department as the spokesperson there. And I traveled the world on trips to promote democracy, where I saw the power of the United States. And of course, the power of this podium and the power of truth and the importance of setting an example of engagement and transparency. So I will just state, because you gave me the opportunity, I have deep respect for the role of a free and independent press in our democracy and for the role all of you play. As I noted earlier, there will be moments when we disagree.
That last part wasn't a bad one. She didn't slam the guys before. See, I know some of you may be getting annoyed at me saying this, but I really want us to understand this. We're going to keep changing power here or there. And Americans, some are Democrats, some are Republicans. I got it. Some are conservative, some are liberal, some are libertarians, right? Some are Greens. We share this country. If we're really going to heal, and I teased you guys last year when I was crossing New York State, I must have said 100 times, do you think that this country needs healing? Do you think Trump is going to heal it if he wins? Do you think Biden's going to heal it if he wins? And I said neither is going to. And you know what? I was right. Trump wouldn't have healed. He wasn't going to heal. And Biden's not going to heal either. Don't get me wrong. Biden has better talk. That's true. That is true. He has nicer, warmer, more empathetic talk. That's true. But is he going to do anything that will heal? So far, no. And while his talk is better, it's still not good. At one point, are they just going, hey, can we not even talk about the previous administration? Can we just let that go? And can we start fresh from now? Can we just have a clean slate? Why wouldn't that be what she's saying? Something like that. When he goes, are you going to do so-and-so? My response, if I'm her, I say, guys, what happened between the press and the previous administration, that's then. This is now. I want a clean slate for everybody. That's the appropriate response. I want a clean slate for everybody. Let's just start. Can we just start at zero, all of us? Let's just do that. Can we do that? And not respond, oh, they were evil and I'm good. I'll trust you and you trust me and we'll keep moving. How about that? That's a much easier. That's the high road. And that's what we should be doing.
And there will certainly be days where we disagree for extensive parts of the briefing, even perhaps, but we have a common goal, which is sharing accurate information with the American people. If the president were standing here with me today, he would say he works for the American people. I work for him, so I also work for the American people. But his objective and his commitment is to bring transparency and truth back to government.
Back to government. There's the smash.
Share the truth, even.
Let me grab a couple of comments. I'm getting a bunch of comments. I'm going to grab some of those if I can real fast. It's going to be a great 4 years for the meme community. That's true. That's absolute. Yes, that's true. Absolutely. So let's see here. So if nonprofit organizations aren't supposed to support political campaigns, then what constitutes doing so? This is for me. If the members directly support a campaign on their platform, should they lose nonprofit status? I'm not sure this is for me, so I'm going to pass on this one, Michael. I don't know if this is for me or not. I feel like it's not. So, yes, Olivia has been on my show before, so I'm glad she's here. Yes. See if I can keep going here. But Larry, they did it to us. I get that feeling. I do. I get that feeling, right? It's just not helpful. It's just not helpful. That's it, right? 2 years is my guess. I don't think Biden's mental health will hold that long. That may be true, but remember that Biden has to go at least 2 years for if Kamala is going to actually, Harris is going to take over the presidency because the Constitution says 10 years. She would have to go 2 years and then run twice so she can get her full 10. So my gut says, without question, if that's going to happen, it's at least 2 years. I would agree, 2 years, 100%. So, all right, see if I can grab this. No, not, see, we're not talking about time. See, no, 2 years, Branko, 2 years. Absolutely, 100%. Larry Sharpe's the man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Let's see if I can keep going here. I got a lot of people who are doing. Oh yes, okay, exactly, Larry. On the changing leadership perspective, yes, we do that in the military as well. When a new leader takes over, never bash the guy, no matter how bad you think about them. 100%, of course not. And they're doing it. You now take over and you move on. That's what you do. Completely right. Yes. And why don't they know this? Or worse, why don't they care? I mean, that's even more important. Why don't they care? So. All right, so I got to wear a mask when I go to the federal beach in Canaveral. Maybe, Joe, I'm not happy about this mandate. I'm just saying as far as mandates go, it's the least bad one, right? They're all bad, but this is the least bad. So, yeah. So why isn't she wearing one? Good point, right? Maybe she should be wearing one now. I don't know. When can I start making mandates? Tim, whenever you want, man, stop making them. You are the man. I love it. Thank you. Very good. That is very good. Okay. I'm not going to hold my breath waiting on reconciliation of our, I think, nationalization. Yeah. I agree. I'm hoping that it can work. I think it can. I really do. Right. So we'll see. See if I can keep doing this again. Since we're listening to experts now, WHO says lockdowns aren't working. Yeah, Rebecca, they said that for months now. That's correct. I wonder if Fauci will listen right now. I maybe they will. So, see if I can keep going here. Yes, that's true. Government did it, not them. Yes. Larry, please tell me exactly what you think of Biden and Trump. Why does, I think I did already like 1,000 times. They've already won. Doesn't matter anyway. But yes, I've already said what I thought of them. I thought I did. Yes. So smug, sanctimonious, self-righteous, fluffing of themselves and their base. And Craig, that's exactly how every conservative feels when they see this. And don't get me wrong, if you are a conservative, you're not going to enjoy this no matter what. I get it. You're not going to enjoy it. But it doesn't have to be painful. It can be, damn it, all right, what can I get out of this? How can I still get part of what I want out of this? That it could be, but it's not. The narrative is still Trump bad even after they've won. If the focus is on Trump, the evil dictator, they won't have to address Biden's mediocrity. This, Margot, I think is a valid point. I think Biden is going to be a very mediocre president, right? I don't think he's going to be that bad. I mean, all presidents are bad, but not that bad, right? I think he's going to be a very mediocre president. I think you're totally right. And if they can say Trump is so horrible, that will make Biden look better in comparison because Trump is obviously the evilest one. I think you're right. Also, if things go badly, they will still blame Trump. This is all a setup for blame in case things go badly. If things go mediocre or good, they'll say, see how awesome I am? If things go very bad, then they'll say, well, how could we fix it? Trump destroyed everything. I think you're completely right. Yes. So, Larry, I wanted to talk about unity. There is now way, I think you mean no way, Biden can unify the country. If Biden and the Democrats want a unified country, they should have been preaching this 4 years ago, instead of unleashing an all-out assault on President Trump for the past 4 years, trying to get him removed from office. Now that Biden's president, he's trying to make everybody look rosy and everything look rosy and saying it's time to unite. Trump supporters will not forget the past 4 years, and in no way are they going to. She couldn't finish that. He couldn't finish that. But Scott, your point is a valid one, 100%. My point is, if I'm in charge now, the 4 years of battle that happened the last 4 years, I can't fix that. All I can do is accept that that's going to, without question, make things a whole lot harder for me. So I got to start now because it's going to take years to fix that. Literally years to repair this. So I've got to start now so that I can eventually repair this. This is really hard. Why in the world would Trump supporters all of a sudden go, you know what? Biden won. Now I'm a Democrat. Why would they do that? Of course they're not going to do that. I get that completely. And now all the fighting that happened the last 4 years, all of a sudden now, because I won, it's over? No. You've got to actually start healing. That's the issue. You have to start actually healing. So, honest question, do you think they want to poke the bear regardless of their claims? Does that have any real benefits? I think in a way it does, right? Part of it is they don't know any better, right? To be forward, many of them just don't know any better. And they live in their own bubbles, and they think everybody wants to hear evil Trump, even though clearly tens of millions of Americans don't want to hear that. But part of them live in a bubble and are okay with this. That's one part. That's a part that's just ignorance. But it's the second part here that says we have to make sure we rally our base. The Democratic Party is broken into two, right? A much more socialist side and a much more kind of neocon Bill Clinton side, right? Romney or a Biden side, right? Much more of that middle ground left versus the socialist left. And what kept them together the entire time was hatred of Trump. That's what kept them together, the common enemy of the evil Trump. So there's a part of them that wants to keep the evil Trump there to keep their coalition together. So there's a part of that too. So there's a part of them that actually does want to poke the bear. And that's the benefit I think they'll see, keeping their coalition together. But that goes to the last piece, right, which is they're setting this up in case things go wrong. It's exactly what Margot said earlier, right? If we can keep reminding America how evil Trump was, if things go badly, well, then it's his fault. If things are just mediocre, well, it's still better than Trump because he was the evil one. I think that's their narrative. They don't want, they want to keep going. That's what I think the issue is, without question. It sounds like they held this press conference just to gloat. It shouldn't feel that way or sound that way. There are so many people who already see this administration as illegitimate. She's pouring gas on the fire. Thank you, Paula. I agree. Absolutely. Yes. Larry Sharpe be the damn president already. I could just be like their advisor. I don't have to be the actual president. I could just be their advisor and just tell them they shouldn't do this, right? This is not what they're supposed to do. It's not the right answer. Let me go a little bit further just so you see what else is popping up here. I'll go a little bit further.
when it's hard to hear. And that's something that I hope to deliver on in this role as well.
And then just one substantive one, so we're short on time. When will President Biden begin making some foreign leader calls? Who's on
talking about foreign leader calls?
Transition, he didn't speak with President Putin.
Yeah, he didn't speak with Putin so far. Biden has not talked to Putin yet.
Plan on doing that, and is he going to discuss retaliation for the SolarWinds hack on the federal government?
Talking about the hack on the government, all those things. Watch your response.
Sure. Let me try to get to those. And I'll just note, since Zeke mentioned it, I know some of you have to get to another event this evening because we're not fully done with the day. So we will have longer briefings in the future, but we'll try to get to as many questions as possible. So his first call, foreign leader call, will be on Friday with Prime Minister Trudeau. I expect they will certainly discuss the important relationship with Canada.
This is also a leadership error. I'm not joking. This is a leadership error. When you step into a position like this, what you want to do is try to repair the worst relationships first. It's easy to talk to Trudeau. And in theory, I mean, Biden's been 8 years in the White House before. He should be pretty good at these phone calls or these things and talking to leaders. He's done it before, right? So why would you be calling the easy one? Trudeau's the easy one. The Canadians aren't attacking us. They're not going to mount an offensive and take over Montana. That's not what the Canadians are going to do. They're fine. We'll be fine. We're still crossing borders back and forth. We'll be fine. You know who we're not fine with? Russia, China, Iran. Those are the ones you call right away. Hey, I'm here. Let's try to fix things. Hey, I'm here. Because if you don't, what do they start feeling? And this is just human nature. And they should know better. If you ignore them and you come in as the president and you call them 6 weeks later or whatever the time frame is, they start thinking, whoa, you're plotting, you're planning, you're scheming, you're getting ready to hurt me somehow. And they retaliate or they act accordingly. This is just human nature. Trudeau will get over it if you don't call him tomorrow. He'll be fine. He's not going to always go, what? I didn't get called by the American president? That's it. Roll the Canadian tanks across the border. That's not going to happen. Every business person that I talk to, I tell them the same thing. If you've got good business relationships, those are the ones you can stress because you can rebuild them, because there's trust there. When there's no trust or when there's fear or anxiety, you can't mess with that relationship because you'll lose it and it will never come back. Common sense.
As well as his decision on the Keystone Pipeline that we announced today. I don't have any plans or any plans to read out for you in terms of a call with President Putin. I will note for you that I would expect his early calls will be with partners and allies.
His early calls will be the easy ones, just what we don't need. With the partners and allies, because Germany and England are going to all of a sudden cut trade with us tomorrow if we don't call them, right? That's going to happen. Silly.
He feels it's important to rebuild those relationships and to address the challenges and threats we're facing in the world. On SolarWinds, we've spoken about this previously a bit prior to his inauguration, I should say today.
Yeah.
We are, of course, we reserve the.
You have no answer. That's the reality. You have no answer. We spoke. You have no answer. Just say. You know what? That's a great question. We are making a plan right now. Done. You don't have an answer.
Right to respond at a time and a manner of our choosing to any cyber attack.
When we figure out what's up.
But our team is, of course, just getting on the ground today. They're just getting onto their computers. So I don't have anything to read out for you or to preview for you at this point in time. Peter, go ahead.
Jeff, I have a question for you on policy. First, a quick housekeeping question. A short time ago, President Biden said that he received a very generous letter from President Trump.
Oh, Trump made a nice letter. That's nice. Nice.
He said it was private. He said, I will not talk about it until I talk to him. Is President Biden planning to call now former President Trump? And is this White House working in any way to try to put the two in touch?
Well, I think, Peter, that was a reflection of President Biden's view. And I was with him when he was reading the letter in the Oval Office right before he signed the executive actions.
So he read the letter and went, thanks, Trump. Let me undo everything you just did. Well, I guess that letter wasn't that good after all, was it?
Was that this is a letter that was private, as he said to you all. It was both generous and gracious. And it was just a reflection of him not planning to release the letter unilaterally, but I wouldn't take it as an indication of a pending call.
So did Trump try to heal? Maybe. Oh, that I would be thoroughly impressed if that's true. I hope that's true. I hope it was a healing letter. I hope it was.
All with the former president.
Let me ask you on policy, if I can, quickly. You talk, obviously, your role is sort of in terms of delivering the best information to the American people on behalf of this White House. The battle for truth may be as tough a fight right now as is
the battle for truth. Okay, see, the press is starting to punch like that. Wait, we haven't punched Trumpsters in like 5 minutes. Let me get a quick punch in.
The battle against coronavirus. How do you and President Biden plan to combat disinformation that in many ways led to that assault we witnessed 2 weeks ago today on the Capitol?
The disinformation is what led to the assault. So how are you going to fix that?
Well,
Tell me.
I think, Peter, there are a number of ways to combat misinformation.
But you don't have any, but it's fine. Keep going.
Them is accurate information and truth and data.
Okay, when has that worked? When has accurate information, truth, and data worked when the other side doesn't trust you? Let me count how many times that's worked. Got to carry the one. Give me a calculator. Hold on. Oh, never. Never. Not even one time. It has never worked. You should know better. The ignorance of our leadership is astounding. How can accuracy work or good information work when the person listening doesn't trust you? If they would respect you and you would respect them and they would trust you, then guess what? They would maybe hear your information and maybe believe it. But if they don't trust you and you don't show them respect, they're not going to believe it. It doesn't matter. You might as well lie to them. It doesn't actually matter. They're not going to believe you anyway. In fact, if you lied to them, you might be better off because they might believe the opposite and get the truth. So maybe lie to them. Maybe that's the answer. This is a terrible, horrible, trite answer that makes no sense. The real answer is reconciliation.
Sharing information even when it is hard to hear and even when it is not meeting the expectations of people at home who are desperate for this crisis to be over. We'll have more to share with you in the next few days, hopefully before the weekend.
Which won't be valuable. She said there's many ways of dealing with it, but I'm just going to say tell the truth. That's not the answer.
We plan to do is not just return these daily briefings Monday through Friday, not Saturdays and Sundays. I'm not a monster, but
not sure about that yet.
But also to return briefings with our health officials and public health officials. We want to do those regularly in a dependable way, with data shared with all of you and with the public, so that they can also track progress we're making on getting the pandemic under control.
As it relates to the cabinet, if I can quickly, we know President Biden's beginning without a single member of his cabinet.
Let's talk about cabinet.
What is your understanding on how quickly those confirmations will happen and when?
Here's my problem with the cabinet. I don't remember, and if someone knows, please let me know. I don't know of one Republican or actually non-Democrat who's in Biden's cabinet. Didn't he say he wanted to work with others? Didn't he say he wanted to do that? Didn't he say he wanted to reconcile? That's not how you reconcile. You reconcile by putting Republicans in your cabinet in some way. I'm not saying you make them Secretary of State. Okay, fine. Transportation, commerce, the interior, something, energy. Pick something. You're doing nothing. This is a piece that I was holding off because I wanted to bring it up. When you actually want to heal and reconcile, when you do, there are two examples I bring up all the time. One of them is Gandhi in India in the 40s, and the other is Nelson Mandela, right? 90s. In the case of Gandhi, Gandhi knew that he had a Muslim minority that was scared of the Hindus, and the Hindus were scared of the Muslims. They were literally fighting each other, literally hacking each other to death in the streets. That's how bad they were. Hacking each other to death in the streets in the 1940s. So he went too far. Gandhi said, I know I have to have Muslims in leadership as we have in independent India. But he said, I want you, I think the guy's name was Jinnah, if not mistaken. Jinnah was a Muslim leader. He goes, I want you to be the prime minister, and I want you to create a cabinet of all Muslims. That was too far. That was crazy. And that's one of the reasons, believe it or not, one of the reasons why Gandhi was shot. Gandhi was assassinated by Hindus, by his own people who thought he was a traitor. That's one of the reasons why he was killed. So he went too far. But you know who didn't go too far? Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela talked about healing, and he spent 27 years in prison in prison, 27 years in jail. And that guy came out and tried to figure out how to heal stuff. That guy tried to make things work. He wasn't perfect, and South Africa isn't perfect. But South Africa, compared to what it could be or could have become, is amazing relatively, right? They had how many hundreds of years of apartheid and horrible oppression by the white minority. Oh my God, horrible. And what they are now is magical. And it's magical because of this. I want you to watch this for a second. It's a piece from the movie Invictus, which is about the South African soccer team and how Nelson Mandela was trying to heal. Watch this magic. It's a few minutes. Watch this magic. Right now, these are secrets, the equivalent of Secret Service agents. And in the previous, all the leaders of South Africa was white. So all the Secret Service was all white. Well, now Mandela, he's black. Well, he picks his Secret Service. It's majority black, of course. But he also decides to put a bunch of white people, white South Africans, literally guarding his life. I want to say it again. He put the people who were literally 2 years ago his mortal enemies, the people who put him in prison, he decided to make them part of the people who guard his life because he put his nation, South Africa, over his individual safety and over everything.
You'll see that they've been signed.
Well, I don't care if they are signed.
He says, I don't care if they're signed. Then realizes, my God, Mandela himself signed the orders to bring the white guys in. And this guy's not happy at all. He's like, that's it.
Just wait here.
I'm gonna get you white guys fired. Watch this. And that's where he heads out. He's not gonna go talk to Mandela, and he's gonna get these white guys thrown out because they're obviously the evil, bad white guys. He's getting them thrown out. Look at it. Hey, tough guys.
Sorry to disturb you, sir.
You look agitated, Jason.
He is.
Because there are 4 special branch cops in my office.
Oh, what did you do?
Nothing. They say they're the presidential bodyguards and they have orders signed by you.
The presidential bodyguards, 4 white guys, orders signed by you. He's like, this got to be fake. There's no way you would do this.
Yes. Well, these men are special trained by SAS. They have lots of experience. They protected the clerk.
Yes, sir, but it doesn't mean that they have to come.
You asked for more men, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I asked.
When people see me in public, they see my bodyguards.
Now, what he said, Mandela said, you wanted more men. You wanted people who were trained. I'm giving you people who are trained. They happen to be white guys. So what? You wanted more men? I gave you the best people that I could find, regardless of their race. Now, I'm not saying race should matter in the Biden case, but maybe conservatives should. Maybe former Trump supporters, maybe they should. Maybe they should.
You represent me directly.
Mm-hmm.
The Rainbow Nation starts here.
The Rainbow Nation starts here. Do you understand the magic, the power of what he just said? This is a man who was put in prison by the white minority for 27 years. And he said, you want change? We're doing it right here. This is where it starts, right here. Where was that from Biden?
Reconciliation starts here.
Reconciliation starts here, right here.
Reconciliation, sir.
Yes, reconciliation, Jason.
Comrade President, not long ago, these guys tried to kill us. Maybe even these 4 guys in my office tried and often succeeded.
Yes, I know. Forgiveness starts here too.
Forgiveness starts here too. Where's that in our nation right now? I'm saying it. I've been saying it. And I can't find other people saying it. Someone's got to start this healing. Or we're just going to, 4 years from now, we're going to have a Republican in, or the next guy who's going to, go behind Trump. And now Democrats going to be mad. And then that guy is going to be the same as this. And we're going to swap every 4 or 8 years.
Forgiveness liberates the soul.
Look at that.
It removes fear.
It removes fear. This is the answer to that guy's question. How are you going to get good information out there? when people stop being afraid of the bad information, when people stop being afraid you're going to control them, when they stop being afraid you're trying to destroy them, then they might actually hear you.
That is why it is such a powerful weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Please, Jason. Try.
Sorry to disturb you, sir.
That is what we should have. That is what we need. That would actually make our nation a better nation. Now you might say, well, these damn Republicans or these damn Democrats, whatever. These guys were killing each other. They were killing each other. Literally, not figuratively, not in thought, not anger. Actually locking people up and shooting them dead in the streets. That was happening here. And Mandela was one of them. His friends were killed. And he went to prison. 27 years. Lost his marriage. Lost his family. And he goes, you know what? I'm in. I want a rainbow nation. I want a better South Africa. And I'll pay the price. And what if those white guys were as bad as the brother said? And they were going to make a mistake and screw him over. He might have lost his life. Did it anyway. Did it anyway. That's what we should be doing now. And we're not. Instead, we got this, which is not great at all. But there is something, at least some people did notice. There were parts of this press conference that were good and that people did begin to notice some things. That did happen. Let me grab a couple more of these comments if I could. So, when will they release all the peaceful people from prisons? Yep, they can pardon every day, not just the last 12 hours of presidency. Wouldn't that be nice, Joe? Wouldn't that be a sign of reconciliation? Wouldn't that be a sign of that? Of course. 41 years of quotas. The 41st year of quotas will be the charm. Yeah, that's it. It takes 41 years of quotas, Sam. Then magical utopia that I've been talking about. Absolutely. Yes. They don't want real change. You know, I don't want to believe you, but there's so many parts of what I see that make me feel like they actually don't. That it's just so much easier to keep people angry. Yes, what it is. Yes. To add more to your list, earlier today, Biden administration said inheriting non-existent coronavirus vaccine distribution plan must start from scratch, which isn't true at all. Even Fauci had to come on and defend the work he and scientists have done. Hey, Susan, I think the reason why that's happening is what Biden actually wants is something to have his name on it. So he'll call it like the Biden plan or the Biden vaccine or the Biden something, right? And that's his legacy. He wants his legacy to be something. And he can't have it being the previous Trump plan because everything Trump touches is obviously evil. So he can't have that. So it starts from scratch so he can call it his own. This is a marketing ploy, if that makes any sense, Jesus. A marketing ploy. Of course, the Muslim ban. Of course it is. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. They are trying to force the idea. Yes, the Muslim ban. Absolutely. It makes it sound worse. Again, Biden bad. Trump bad. We still haven't gotten past Orange Man bad. And we have to get past that. How can we heal if we can't get past Orange Man bad? We just can't. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So hey, Larry, how likely are you to go to the Patriot Party? I'm not sure the Patriot Party is even going to exist. I'm not sure Trump's going to do it. It is really hard to create another party. I know I'm in a third party. It is super hard to create one, even if you have money. It's hard. I think the Patriot Party is going to wind up being, if it exists, a kind of wing of the Republican Party, and will probably just get absorbed into the Republican Party. That's my assumption on Patriot Party. The odds of me joining it, slim to none. I'm a libertarian. That's who I am. I wear it on my sleeve. That's it. Would I work with Patriot Party? Of course. Would I work with Tea Party? Of course. I'll work with the DSA. I don't care. Whatever's going to get things going. Joe's talking about getting prisoners out of jail. The DSA wants that. I'll work with them. I'll work with anybody. Patriots too. Absolutely. So, all right. They are rubbing salt into the wounds. Yes, they should stop that. It's a bad idea. Yes, 100%. Let's see here if I can keep going. See if I can keep going. So rich with unity, I want to throw up. Yes, so much unity. Could you imagine if they actually said, you know what? I want conservatives and I want Trump supporters to feel included. So I'm going to keep some of his cabinet members on to do that because I want some unity. And I'm going to take up some issues and explain why I'm going to keep some issues that Trump supporters cared about, right? I'm not just going to stop the border wall. I'm going to explain how I'm going to keep our borders safe. How about something like that, right? The wall, as an example, it's an obvious example. Does the average conservative actually care if there's a wall or not? Not really. They care if this is a secure border, and a wall seemed like the only thing that people were doing to secure the border. That's the feeling. They want a secure border. So if he would instead say, I get it, conservatives, you want a secure border. Let me show you how I can do that. Let me give you a way of creating a secure border. I just don't want the wall. Now, would that make every conservative happy? No, but at least they'd go, all right, let me see if I can get behind his plan. Maybe we'll see. It would be a beginning to start the healing. The healing starts now. That's what I would have wanted. If that would have happened, at least they would have been like, all right, let me see what this is about. And if you'd actually done it and come up with a plan to actually secure the border, conservatives at least wouldn't feel disrespected. They would still think he's wrong, but they wouldn't feel so disrespected. And that's the issue. So, yes. They have to say previous administrations, otherwise you might get confused about whether it was Trump or Obama's terrible policies. Lyndon, nicely done. Yes, because of course Obama's policies were so perfect. So yes, they have to say that to make sure that we're not going, oh yeah, that Obama policy was bad. Oh wait, that was Trump? Oh, okay. Yes, 100%. All right, whoops. They can't stop themselves from poking the bear. It's almost like they want a divided country. Yes, it's yes, terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, Conan. Oh, did you do a Conan the Barbarian quote? Nicely done. Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women. Yes, but, you know, once you've won the battle and once the enemies is crushed, then let's heal. And the election's over, Robert, right? I'm with you. I'm teasing. I know you're teasing. It's funny. But the reality of it is the election's over. Let's move on, right? Let's just move on. So, all right, if I can keep going. Her verbal spacing makes her seem like it was either a prepared statement or she's a bit of a sociopath. No, it's all prepared. That actually makes it worse, Jonathan. That makes it worse. They wrote this out and said, how many times did we smack them? Oh, that many. Great. Yes, good. Got you. Dude, you have 13 viewers. On what? On YouTube? I can't tell, actually. I see a bunch of viewers. This is actually streamed on about 8 different platforms. Overall, each show gets around 5,000 views overall. YouTube is my lowest. Usually YouTube, I wind up getting about 500 total, give or take, sometimes 700, sometimes 1,000. Unless I get something really big, like I did a Candace Owens piece, I got like 80,000. But usually I get around 500 total on YouTube. My biggest ones are usually on Twitter and my two Twitter pages and my two Facebook pages. There I always get thousands of views on those. So you're watching on YouTube, so it looks like it's low, but we'll get about 5,000, which again, 5,000 isn't crazy. I mean, I wish I was getting 50,000. That'd be amazing. Hopefully one day I will. So that's why you probably see 13. I can't actually tell. I just know at the end how it works once it's over. So you voted for me in 2013. Thank you. Libertarians are garbage right now. I went to one of your rallies. Please come to more of my rallies. Libertarians are hurting. It's true. We didn't do well last year. We had some great libertarians that we did. We had Rainwater who ran Indiana. I mean, that was a home run. We had Harrington who ran in Arkansas. So, I mean, we had some good libertarians. We had a guy who won in Wyoming. We had a victory in a state house in Wyoming. So we had some victories across the state. But you're right, it wasn't a great year for us. It wasn't. I'm hoping we can get better. I hope we can get better. Our national campaign wasn't great at all. But that doesn't mean that we're finished. It means we're having some problems that can be fixed. And this is part of it. I would ask you, Edward, what other party is talking about reconciliation? The only one I see is this party and me. I'm the one talking about healing. I'm the one talking about respect to both sides, respect to my liberal friends and respect to my conservative friends. And I get when conservatives are in charge, they're going to put in more conservative rules. I got it. That's what they're going to do. I don't want them to put in any rules. I like to leave people be. But even if you're going to, you can still respect the other. And we have spent so much time not respecting each other. It is very hard to change that. But I think we need to. Someone's got to say, respect starts now. Someone's got to say it. I say it. Respect starts now. That's what I'm saying. So, all right. Moving forward. Absolutely. Yes. 100% moving forward. That would be a great thing. I wish we could move further and further forward. It would be just very good if we could do that. I would appreciate that. See if I can go a little bit further on these. All righty. We could use a little Nelson Mandela right now. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, was it a rugby team? I thought it was a soccer team. Maybe it was. I thought it was a soccer team, but I've forgotten. I haven't seen the movie in a while. I thought it was soccer. So, Tulsi Gabbard, Larry Sharpe, 2024. Hey, look, if Tulsi wants to join our party, welcome aboard. Come on in. I love it. Come on in, 100%. So, let's see if I can keep going here. Most important, how she feels and identifying herself. If she says she's at the talking about Biden. Yes, Dr. Biden. Sure, absolutely. Comparing an actual leader to a puppet isn't fair, Larry. I don't want to be negative, Trent. How about that? What I'll say is, to not be negative and try to take the high road on that, is I always expect more from our leaders, and I expect forgiveness, and I expect repairing. And I know we didn't get a Mandela type or a Gandhi type. We didn't get one this year. We needed one this year. We did. We needed one to do it and to get us back together. There are simply too many of us out there who don't like each other, and we have to find one soon. And if it's not now, I hope it's next year or the year after. But I'm still going to say what I think is right and hope you guys get what I'm saying. I think it's the right answer. So I'll support Biden so America doesn't fail. If he fails, we all fail, and I won't fail. It's a valid piece, and I brought this up before. Excuse me. Obviously, in 2016, I wasn't happy. I wanted Gary Johnson to win. Clearly, that didn't happen. But when Trump won, I wasn't mad. I didn't go, oh, my God, Trump won. The world's ending. I hope the world blows up. I didn't say that. I hope that Trump would, be a good president and succeed. That was my hope. People might say, well, Larry, how do you measure that, right? Well, I also, by the way, also hope that Biden succeeds and is a good president. So how do I measure that? I measure that in one, an average American gets better, number one, and two, we get some of our freedoms back. That's how I measure it, right? I have a low bar because they're not libertarians, so I have a low bar. For Biden, I actually have a lower bar because Biden has far more pressure from socialists than Trump had. I mean, far more. Trump had almost no pressure from socialists. He had a little. I mean, they had a little, but very little compared to Biden. Biden has a whole lot more pressure. I would like Biden to just be do no harm. Just do no harm. If he just doesn't break anything, I'm going to say, fine, good enough. Trump's presidency was good enough. We had some successes, but he was nowhere near as libertarian as I wanted him to be. Biden, I don't know yet. I think it's going to be mediocre. I hope he just doesn't make things a whole lot worse. That's my fear that he will, particularly with the pressure he has. Again, a lot more pressure than Trump ever had from the socialist side of the party. So I hope he doesn't fail too. I agree with you. I don't want him to fail. I'd rather us have some unity. And people have said, well, Larry, if they're working together, then they're working to screw us over, right? I disagree completely. I think if they're actually working together and the individual people in the streets don't hate each other and they're actually happy in their life, they're not afraid. Afraid Americans give us bad policies. Gave us the war on terror, the war on drugs, gun control. That was all afraid Americans. I want Americans who are not afraid. And then they give us better policies. And not just that, we then fight back against the government, not fight back against a party. I don't want us fighting against Democrats or Republicans. I want us fighting against government overreach, period, when it's Democrats or Republicans. And I don't see that happening right now, and I wish it would. So, excuse me. There was no reconciliation in South Africa. It's chaos. I disagree. There was reconciliation. It was nowhere near as bad as it could have been. Is it great? No. I think you're right. It's not great. And even now, there's a lot of problems in South Africa. I completely agree. I'm saying compared to what it could have been. That's what I'm saying. In most cases, when that transfer of power happens, there is immediate bloodbath. And that's in almost every other situation. I'm trying to think of one where that hasn't happened. In almost every case, there's immediate bloodbath. That didn't happen. So again, I'm judging this, Vendetto, not by are they amazing now? I'm judging it by what has happened in the past and what could have happened. So it's a relative judgment. But of course, South Africa's in trouble. But compared to what they could have been, economically, they had a bit of a, remember the BRIC nations, which was about South Africa and stuff? I mean, it wasn't that bad. So, yeah, Nelson Mandela sounds a lot like Morgan Freeman. Crazy about that. Yes, absolutely. Biden cannot handle Bernie bros. No way he could spend 27 years in prison and then forgive his oppressors. That's true. Absolutely. Yes, that's true. So if you discount the land grabs and racial strife, it's pretty reconciled. Again, compared to a massive bloodbath, again, I'm comparing it. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying relative. That should have been a massive bloodbath, right? Look at Angola. Look at Mozambique. That should have been a bloodbath. And it wasn't. Rwanda, the Congo. These places still bloodbaths. So the amount of death after the transfer was nowhere near as bad as it could have been. Now, did they do all the right policies? No. But again, it is definitely relative. So I hope that was clearer. So, all right. There is no reconciliation now. They care starting to claim libertarians are domestic terrorists and somehow lumped us in with authoritarianism. Yes, absolutely. That's true. Yes, I know. It's bad. So I feel like Team Biden does want to destroy not just Trump supporters, but anyone who disagrees with him. I feel like this war on the other by Democrats in power. Well, a lot of them are angry. They think that, Trump was mean, so we can be mean too. No, I'm not there. I don't care if they think Trump was mean to them. That's fine. Doesn't matter. So, yes. All right, let me just keep grabbing if I could. Let me go a little bit further. Because there was an actual point here that I wanted to bring up from a question.
Should we expect additional nominations and ambassadorships to be announced?
See, the nominations again bothers me because they're not Republicans at all. Maybe there's some. I didn't see any, and that's a problem. That is one of my biggest issues. I'm going to pop forward past that to another question if you guys don't mind.
To play in those negotiations. There was a lot of comments today about his familiarity with the Senate. How involved will he be in that process?
He will be quite involved. There is the issue that he wakes up every day focused on is getting the pandemic under control.
That's always where it's the pandemic. And this is what I'm saying earlier. The reason why he has to say the Trump plan was bad and you have to reboot is because he has to put his name on this. Right? Biden has to put he's worried about a legacy. Remember, Biden was run for president 3 times. He's been in government for 40 years, he did 30 some odd years in the Senate and then 8 years as a VP. So he's been over 40 years. He's been in government. Now he's at the top. This for him is his legacy. He's got to put his name on something. So I think he tries to scrub Trump away from the plan, puts his name on the plan and goes, see, I saved you all. I really believe that is his plan.
Involved in the process. Go ahead, Jen.
So on this COVID relief package, Senator Romney was already saying to reporters today that he doesn't see a need for another virus relief package.
Yep.
He's the kind of Republican vote you're likely going to be trying to get.
So she's saying that we think we're gonna this package may not go through. But all they want is to push this package through. That is it. Nothing else.
How long are you willing to try to work to get Republican support before you decide to go through the budget reconciliation process?
Now, that part I love. She goes, how long are you ready to just try to get Republican support before you blow them off? Like, she knows that you're going to blow them off. They don't care if the Republicans don't want this or not. The reporter knows it. We're healing? So how long are you going to, pretend and give lip service to the right and act like you care before you just run them over? Is that like a day or is that like 3 weeks? How long until you just run over them?
Well, as you know, because you all cover it. And
Right, because we're going to run over them real fast. Like, they got like 5 minutes to get on board this train, or they get run over.
As I've stated a couple times here today, we are in the middle of an urgent crisis in this country. It's
Which
not
gives
just
us the right to
impacting
crush over people.
Democrats, it's impacting Republicans, it's impacting red states and blue states.
Yep.
And this plan is intended to address the suffering of the American people. So we hope and frankly, we expect Republicans in Congress and Democrats too will support assistance that will bring relief to the people.
So they better get on
represent.
board.
This is a conversation. He, of course, gave a primetime address, as you all know, last week. It seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't, to announce his specifics.
Yeah.
And he has
Let's get
already had a
past
number of-
this. Let's get past this. Let's see here. Oh, did I
Could you
miss
just
something?
give us some color about what it was like for him going into the Oval Office? He's been waiting for this for so long. What was his reaction?
Yeah. So can you please tell us how amazing it was for Joe Biden? Let's just make him feel amazing and awesome because he's awesome. Don't we all love him? That was this one. That was a great question also. So let me grab another question I think is what I hope to be an interesting point here.
And I've heard from people who say, well, that's just talk.
Ah, yes. Hold on. This is a very good question.
Americans in the first 100
Here we go.
days.
Good question.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. The president talked movingly about unity today.
The president talked movingly about unity today. That's what she says. That's she preps it.
And I've heard from people who say, well, that's just talk.
She says, I've heard from people, well, that's just talk. See, somebody was in there listening and thinking how I'm thinking. You know, where's the actual action? You talk some trash about unity, but you keep smacking Republicans and conservatives. So, okay.
They want to know what action they're going to see.
They want to know what action they're going to see. You know what? Me too.
To show that kind of unity. Can you, Peter mentioned.
Peter mentioned.
Impeachment.
Yep.
Can you tell us what kind of action we can expect to see?
She says, this other guy mentioned impeachment. You're not against that, right? What? Can you tell me what kind of stuff you can see? And if I could play music now, I would. Because, man, is she about to dance. Because there is nothing.
That will assure people that he wants to reach out to people who voted for him and people who did not.
How can we be sure that he'll reach out to people who voted for him and not? How can we? What thing are you going to do? Give me something. Look at that nervous smile. She got nothing. She's got nothing. Watch.
Sure.
Sure.
Well, first, I think anybody who has covered President Biden for some time or worked for him or spent time with him knows that he is somebody who always sees the optimistic side of working with people who may disagree with him.
Didn't answer the question at all.
People across the aisle. And that has long been his commitment and desire through his many decades in public service.
Let me just say stuff because I want to sound like I'm answering the question, even though I'm not.
So his own history tells you how committed he is.
His history says he'll do stuff, right? You're buying this, aren't you?
But, part of it is his words, which he shared today with the American public.
Part of it's his words, but the rest is more words.
On quite a big stage. Also his actions.
What
he
actions?
has reached out to not just Democratic members of Congress, but also Republicans.
So he reached out to Republicans, Democrats to say, hey, I'm doing this stuff. Get on board or I'm crushing you. I'm not sure that's reconciliation.
It's not just Democratic governors, but also Republicans.
Because there are both Democrat and Republican governors. That's why he reached out to those two. And there are Republican and Democratic senators and congresspeople. So that's why he reached out to those. That's not really special, but go ahead.
Not just Democratic mayors, but also Republicans. And he said today in his speech, the biggest platform most presidents have
He said in his speech, so it's back to words again. She was asking for action and so was I. So let's get to the action part.
The course of their presidency, that he will govern for all Americans. And, that, of course, has to be backed up by actions.
You keep saying that, but you don't give us any action. It's kind of funny about that.
As you conveyed, but he's going to venture to... You got nothing. Just say you got nothing. I don't know why these communications people try to dodge this. This is the appropriate answer to that statement. You're right. And we have to have a better plan. And we're going to. And I promise you in the next 30 days, whatever, we're going to have a better plan that's going to be obvious that we're going to reach out
to both Democrats and Republicans. We should have been better at that. We really should have, but we were so focused on winning the election and then winning in Georgia that we just didn't focus on that. And we should, and we're going to. That's a good answer. At least you're saying, look, you're right. We got to come up with something. We got nothing, but we're going to. But she can't do that because they're not going to do it. There's no plan to do any action at all. It's just, we love you, so get on board.
Do that in every policy he pursues,
Keep going.
every engagement he has, because he feels if we can come together, we'll be a stronger country.
If we can come together. If not, we'll just roll over you. Hey, sweetheart, I got the Senate. I got the Congress. I got the presidency. I'm just going to do some stepping. You shouldn't get in the way.
Go ahead.
Jen, will we see a death penalty moratorium under this administration?
I am going to end that piece there. I think we've shown everything I was talking about. My exact concerns that I brought about, again, for those who've been paying attention to me, literally 8 months ago. I was talking about this problem 8 months ago. If we actually had an election that people didn't trust the outcome, and we knew 6 months ago that no matter what would have happened, if Trump would have won this, Democrats would be like, it was the Russians. You can guarantee that would have happened, or the Ukrainians, or whomever the Democrats would have said was the reason why Trump won. And when Biden wins, it's fraud. That was going to happen whether there was fraud or not. That was going to happen whether it was the Russians or not, because we don't trust each other. It is irrelevant to the data you put out there. People don't trust each other. That's the issue. And we need healing. And Trump would have not had any plan to heal, and Biden has no plan to heal. Biden talks nicer. Biden talks not as bad. Trump's a whole lot harsher, right? A whole lot brasher. But Biden is nicer in his conversations. He talks nicer, but he's not healing. He's like, I'm in charge. Good luck, guys. Good luck, guys. That's it. So, coronavirus will be cured in 100 days. COVID is of no more use as a political weapon. Ooh, let's see that, Paul. All right, I like that idea. Let's see if that's true. Let's see if it happens that fast. Okay, no, seriously, I'm not teasing you. I'm being serious. I want to see if that happens. Hold me to this. This is something I want to see. I'm not sure that's true. I don't know if anyone actually has any idea what's happening with COVID at all, and what part's COVID, what part's the flu, what part's the super COVID. I don't know. Let's see if you're right. I'm totally open to this. So, all right. It's not the government's job to distribute healthcare resources. Yeah, Thomas, it isn't. But you see, if you just gave that, as I talked about, if you just gave it instead to the pharmacies, not the pharmaceutical companies, the actual pharmacies, the CVS's, the Walgreens, the local mom and pop pharmacies, they already know who their customers are. They already have databases. They would know approximately how many people need to get every given shot or every given, vaccine. They give shots. They want people in their stores. So they wouldn't charge anything. They want people in their stores. It would have been much better, much faster. But could you call that the Biden plan? See, you can't call that the Biden plan, right? So you can't call that the Cuomo plan or the Trump plan or whatever. You can't call it the plan of the politician. So yeah, that's not going to do. If I could call it the Biden plan, absolutely. If I could say, I did it, I'm Biden, I've saved the planet, then, but otherwise, no, you can't. It's all about divide and conquer with this criminal government at every level. Both parties are on team NWO. I don't know about this new world order, right? I feel like it was failing, if there was even such a thing, and how good it was or how strong it was. I feel like it was failing the whole time. And I've seen people now tell me that they think that COVID is the way that they kind of rebuild the new world order. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, right? My gut tells me it can't work. It doesn't work. Every time people try to unite like that, the individuals rebel enough to where they can't do it. I mean, the joke I always say is Czechoslovakia couldn't stay together, right? I mean, that country couldn't stay together. What country? Yugoslavia couldn't stay together. The Soviet Union couldn't stay together. I mean, so many countries are falling apart. Spain is falling apart. I mean, I don't know. We're falling apart. How do you create a new world order out of that? I don't know. So, all right. I want Trump to start a third party so we can whine and bitch about how unfair it is and lodge lawsuits we can hop on and make a lot of noise so people realize how rigged the system is. Lyndon, that's actually not a bad idea. If he actually creates a separate Patriot Party that's not kind of like a wing or arm of the Republican Party, he would see all the problems that we deal with. Maybe get to maybe it comes 4 parties: Democrats, Republicans, Patriots, Libertarians. And that might work. All right, maybe. Okay, maybe. I like the concept. So, yes. Why are all conservatives being labeled as racist bigots? Because it's easy to just make you the enemy. You're the conservative. You're the enemy. You're the bad guy. I don't have to think. And if I dismiss you, then it becomes okay, right? If I'm a Democrat and I say, well, I don't want to have conservatives in my cabinet because they're all racist bigots, then all the Democrats go, yeah, that makes sense. We don't want those conservative people. They're all racist bigots. We can't have them. I mean, we would have them, but they're all racist bigots, so we can't. The idea of labeling the other as something horrible like that it makes it easy to dismiss you. It makes it easier to dehumanize you. That's why. Don't get me wrong. Conservatives do it too. Oh, the libs and the socialists. They dismiss them too. Same way. I can't. He's a socialist. I can't have him around. They're the same thing. Each side does it to each. It's just the Democrats are in charge now, right? And that's the big issue. So, all right. A personal question. If you were a blood relative of Joe B., would you be embarrassed or pitiful of him? If I was a blood relative, well, I'm assuming if I was a blood relative that I would somehow care about him and like him. He seems like a nice guy. I mean, I don't know him, never met him, but my gut tells me he seems to be a nice man. He's been through a lot of tragedy in his life. I think if I was a relative, I'd probably be proud of him for getting through all the crap he's had to go through, for not being, this is not an insult, but as far as presidents go, he isn't super intelligent compared to presidents. Presidents tend to be very intelligent. I mean, their IQ, the IQ of the average president is far higher than the IQ of the average American. So, he isn't super intelligent as far as presidents go. I think I'd probably be impressed, to be forward with you. If I was his blood relative, I'd be like, oh, Uncle Joe, well done, man. You're amazing. You got through all that crap and you still became president. I think that's how I'd feel. I'd be supportive of my family member. I think I would. So that's, I think, what I'd be saying. So let's see. We can't heal with misinformation and censorship. Ooh, Jim, very good point. The censorship piece is not helping. You are totally right. The powers that be want us fighting. Most normal Americans will find common ground, but not with the socialists. Even if you put the word democratic in front of socialism, you can't still stick the entire thing up your ass, period, end of story. I like that, but I think you could even find it with socialists if, and here's the key part, if the socialists decide that they want to do it on their own in their own worlds. The Amish are socialist, and the Amish do their own thing. They don't force the Amish lifestyle on others. Many Mormon populations are very socialistic. Not all, but many Mormon populations are. They don't force their views that everyone has to be socialist in the rest of the world. So you know what? I think it could happen. It depends upon where you go. But your censorship piece is a critical aspect, right? The idea of we'll give the right information, what she means is we'll give you our information. If you actually want to build trust, you have to have multiple types of information. Information that says N95 masks are the greatest thing in the world, and those that say masks, and those that say masks are awesome, and all of them. So people can look at it and go, huh. People can test it and go, huh. We don't get that, right? If I believe that my way is correct, I'm happy to talk with anyone who thinks I'm wrong. What does that do? It means most of you will trust me more. Not all of you. And even if you guys think I'm wrong, you won't think I'm lying. You'll think I'm just wrong. Well, I don't want you to think I'm wrong. If I have a choice, I would rather you go, Larry's just wrong on that, than go, Larry's lying. I don't want you to think I'm lying, right? Because if I'm wrong, you and I can have a conversation. And either I can go, you know what, maybe I was wrong, let me change. Or you might go, you know what, Larry, I was wrong, let me change. Or we might just agree to disagree and go, look, you're there and I'm here and that's where it is. All those are good. What's not good is that guy Larry's full of it. He's lying. That's a problem. So that's why I want more out there. It's much better. It's much better that way. So, all right. He has way more than 13 viewers. That's true, I do. Way more than 13. Absolutely true. Yes. Good. I didn't know we're on YouTube. Yes, I'm on YouTube, 2 channels on YouTube, 2 channels on Twitter. Is it channels? No, 2 channels on YouTube, 2 profiles on Twitter, 1 Twitch. Believe it or not, I'm on Twitch. Yes, and 3 Facebooks. So yes, I'm on many. So the whatever you see is one of 8, right? Whatever number you see, there's 7 more out there also. So, all right, let's see if I can keep going here. It's a feel good for Democrats. Biden cares and he's doing something. I agree. And that's the one thing I say often about what I say often about the Democrats. Democrat rhetoric usually, and recently no, but usually is nicer sounding rhetoric. It's always about things like, oh, fairness and equality and justice. It sounds great. And it makes people feel like, oh, Democrats care. See, it sounds so good. But then the policies? No, they're not caring or just or equal. Not at all. But the rhetoric does sound good. And I think there is some value in politics to saying things that feels good. It does work, Jimmy. You're right. It makes a lot of people believe like, oh, yeah, sounds good. Unity requires some compromise on both sides. Yes. But I feel like the new administration will not want to compromise now that they're in power. Sadly, Matt, you are correct. It is a disservice to all citizens who they serve. Bingo, brother. You are on the money, Matt. It is a disservice. Oh, I'm stealing that. It's a disservice to all those who they serve. Yes, if you're going to be president of all the people, like you said, well, you got to have all types in your cabinet, don't you? You have to have all those types of people represented. You're so concerned about ethnic background, which is important too, but you're not worried about thought process. Let me be clear. I talk about diversity all the time, right? I know people that wore masks and stayed 6 feet away and still got COVID. Yeah, does happen. But I talk about diversity all the time. And in business, diversity is critical, but not diversity of ethnic backgrounds. Those are good. I'm not against it at all. It's good and it's nice to have. But the critical aspect is diversity of thought. Very often, that will also mean different gender. It will also mean different age groups. It will also mean different ethnic backgrounds, often, but not always, right? If I've got a bunch of these different age groups and ethnic backgrounds and genders, but they're all left-wing Democrats, that's not diversity of thought. That's just diversity. And if I don't get diversity of thought, I can't win. The best case that every company, organization should do is they should have diversity of thought with unity of purpose. If you can have that, you are rocking and rolling. Diversity of thought with unity of purpose. But when you have unity of thought, regardless of purpose, you got a problem. And that's sadly what we have right now in administration. We need diversity of thought. And that's the critical piece. So, all right. Yes, Larry, trust. 100%. You got to trust. Absolutely, you got to trust. Yes. There's no option to contest any political ideals with anyone but you, Larry. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you so much. I'm trying. Yes, I'm trying. Absolutely. What do you think of the Mises Caucus takeover? I think it's fine. I think they're trying to make a shift to change the LP. And I think every party, every caucus has the right to make that move or that shift. I'm fine. I like the Mises Caucus. It makes people angry when I say that, but I do. The Mises Caucus is I like a lot of people there. I like Dave Smith. We get along. I've been in the show before. I don't have a problem with him at all. And a lot of people are mad about it. I'm not. Look, the reality of it is the Libertarian Party tends to lean the opposite of whatever the government is. So the Libertarian Party in New York State, we're a very blue state, the Libertarian Party in New York State tends to lean right. You go to a place like Oklahoma, where it's a very red state, Libertarian Party tends to lean left. That's not 100% rule, but it's about a maybe 70, 80% rule. That's how it goes, because we are the party by default that is anti whatever the establishment is. So a lot of people on the right got mad at libertarians because many libertarians were anti-Trump because he was in charge. So the party began to lean left, and it got people angry who were on the right. Well, yes, because the authority was the right. Well, now the authority is the left. So you're going to see a whole lot more libertarians being mad at Biden. So the party's probably going to start leaning right, is my assumption. And it makes this caucus is perfect timing to move the party a bit towards the right. Now, if Republicans win again, the party will probably shift left again. It's how it tends to be, because people join the party because they're angry at the establishment. So if I've got a right establishment, the people who join tend to be more left. If I've got a left establishment, the people who join tend to be more right. That's how the party tends to, again, not 100% rule, but it's a good general rule. So I hope that was clear. So, all right. Let's see if I get this here. Funny prediction. Trump starts the Patriots Party and his first running mate's Ted Nugent. Well, that would get press. I mean, that would really get press. Absolutely. Some people are thinking that their way of thinking is the only way. Alice, that is a problem, and you are correct. Absolutely. Such a problem. And the more we put ourselves in those bubbles, the more that happens. And one of the reasons why, and you guys see me do it, I will bring on someone who's very left, and then I'll bring on someone who's very right. I'll bring on someone who's very specific on what they want. I'll bring them on the show. It is rare that I ever bring on libertarians on the show, in case you didn't notice. I rarely bring them on because libertarians, if you want libertarians, there's a massive echo chamber of libertarians. Just put in Libertarian or Liberty podcast. You'll get 75 of the same podcast, the same people yelling the same things over and over. A nice echo chamber. You can get that all day long. I'm trying to not have that here. I'm trying to have people who are not all libertarians here. That's the goal. Because two things. One, I want non-libertarians to hear us, but I also want libertarians to hear the other. We tell ourselves, Liberty Movement, a lot of lies. That's not true. I exaggerate on that one. A lot of fairy tales. That's better. We say things like, everybody wants freedom. Not true. And I bring on people who show you they don't. Right? They don't. Or it's always about liberty. It's not. Right? It's not. And that's when I show people, right? We tell ourselves things that just aren't true. But we keep telling ourselves it in our echo chamber and we believe it. You know, everybody hates government. They don't. Some really love government a whole lot. So I bring these on so that people can see and go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right? So I agree. And my whole goal is to show that eventually Libertarian Party is going to actually start winning. And I mean winning big. I don't know when that's going to be. I hope next year. But maybe it's in a couple of years. When that happens, there simply aren't enough of us to go around. We're going to have to mix people together. We're going to have to bring on left and right. We're going to have to. So we should understand that they exist and that how they think and what they care about and how we talk to them. We have to make sure that we're not going to become like the press secretary and start talking about how, oh, yeah, these evil Republicans, Democrats. That's not helpful. I remember during the campaign last year where some of the people in the campaign, they would start the campaign presentation as they're talking and they're going on the campaign. Let me tell you why Biden's evil. Let me tell you why Trump is evil. You just alienated half of the audience. It's not what I want you to do. And I don't want us, I want to practice what I preach. And I hope I'm doing that. So thank you for that. I do appreciate that. Yes. Larry, if any of the fraud is true, why is no one being arrested? I just don't get it. And this is an issue. This is a very important thing. If you are a person who believes there was no fraud, no worries. You should still want a full investigation anyway. You should want one anyway, because the odds are there was some fraud. Was there enough fraud to change the election? I don't think so. But I could be wrong, but I don't think so. The point is, if you don't believe there was fraud, you should still be okay with an investigation. If you do think there's fraud and no one's getting arrested except people who are on the Trump team, that the only ones getting arrested, that means one or two things are true. Either there wasn't that much fraud, or the conspiracy is so deep that there isn't any arrest. Anyone arrested. The entire system is all on board. And is that possible? I guess it's possible. I don't see it as likely. I just don't think there are enough people who would hold that water. I don't think that would happen. I think they would just on their own turn to get money or power or fame or something. So I don't think that's true. But either way, whether there was fraud or not, there are tens of millions of Americans who believe that to be true. And either they're right or they're wrong, or it's some combination in the middle. I think it's in the middle. My gut tells me. I have not run down that rabbit hole because it doesn't matter. The election is over. It's not being overturned. It's irrelevant who did what. The issue is the next election. That's still what's going to happen, the next election. So if you are, this is one thing that was upset about Trump. If Trump doesn't believe there was fraud anymore, and I don't know if he believes or not, he didn't say anything in his speech, which bothered me. He didn't mention it in his farewell address. If he doesn't believe it anymore, he should have said so. Look, I don't believe it anymore. Just this is why I changed my mind. Move on. If he does believe it still, then he has two choices. Option one, say, I believe it happened. It was fraud. And it was terrible. And they stole the election. And one, don't worry about it anymore. It's over. Let it go. It's over. System that we have. Option one. Or option two, yes, I believe it was stolen and it's bad. Absolutely. And now I'm going to take my next year with all my now money and people who are following me, and we're going to fix this system. We're going to show you the fraud. We're going to fix this system. We're going to bring it to light, and we're going to make a better electoral system for 2022. Any of that would have been fine. I think Trump really messed up not bringing it up and doing one of those three. I don't know what he thinks. Does he really believe it now? Does he not believe it now? Tell us, and what are you going to do about it? And I think he missed that opportunity completely because I think he was too busy talking about his own legacy, trying to have his own legacy versus telling us what's going to do about it. So I guess it's my feeling on that. So they need term limits. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. A lot of people want government to take care of them. Yes. Also true. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can keep going here. Why do you believe libertarians will win big in the next few years? Funding potential or demise of the GOP? No, I just think we're getting better candidates, right? I forgot who mentioned earlier, but he said, Republicans are garbage, right? He said libertarians are garbage right now. Well, we didn't do good nationally, but we had some stars. We did have a couple stars last year. Then we're going to have a couple more now. And we're going to have more in 2022 and more in 23 and 2024. I think we're getting better candidates. That's the issue. If we have better candidates who are more funded, which is going to start happening too, more people are going to follow us. People are moving more and more to social media to get their news or information. And libertarians are already here, right? We're already here. This is the place for us to grow. And you're going to find companies like the Young Turks of the world, the Blaze, Fox Nation, all those little areas that have their own little thing here or there. They're going to start grabbing libertarians to be on their side, on their fringe, right? Because they won't want a Republican or a Democrat, but they'll take a libertarian, right? So you're going to find that's going to start happening more and more. I think the Blaze is already doing it, but all the others are all looking at it like, how do we get this libertarian thing in, right? How do we get this person with liberty leaning? You're going to see more of that, which you're going to message out more. So I think that's why I think that's what's going to happen, right? I just feel like it's hard for libertarians to pull folks from the DNC. It will be difficult, but not impossible. As a general rule, and again, this is a general rule, not 100% rule, it's easier to get people from the right, but they also go back faster. It's harder to get people from the left, but when they come, they stay. So someone who moves from Democrat to Libertarian tends to be very hardcore and get it. Go, that's it, I'm Libertarian. They don't go back. Republicans will very often hover Libertarian and then go back. So I think that's the issue. It may be hard to get from the left, but when you get them, they stay. They're some of our best activists. They absolutely are. So I hope that was that answered your question at least. So, all right. Do you think secession will be a peaceful option? No. The Civil War showed that we don't have a right to secede. I know people tell me all the time that they do, right? That, oh my God, yes. The Constitution says so, or our rights say so. That's great. They can say all they want, but the government has decided, no, we will use force to bring you back in. So secession, I don't think is. The only way secession would work is if the federal government has collapsed so much to where they can't mount an attack, right? If the federal government collapses so much that it physically can't maintain a military presence, then secession would happen because the country would fall apart. But without that, they'll just use force and use tanks and soldiers to say no. They've proven that they'll do that, and they'll do it again. So that's why, no, I don't think so. Yes. Trump should have done what you said, Larry. I think so. He really should have. He should have talked about one of those things. Absolutely. And I think it would have been much, much better in the long run. And again, I don't know. Does he still believe it or not? If he does, say it. And what are you going to do about it? If he doesn't, say it. And why? Yes. Larry, he's human. He was heartbroken. I think you might be right on that one, Jessica. Yeah, you're probably right. He was concerned about his own legacy and how people feel about him and leaving and all those things. I think you're right. And I think you're correct. and maybe he can change and do another, something in the future and set the record straight. Where does he stand now, and what does he want his people to do? He has tens of millions of Americans who still support him. Okay, let's bring him in the fold. I'm in. Let's bring him in the fold. Absolutely. So, Trump knew the system was rigged in 2016. Since he won, though, he didn't care. That's the part that's bothered me about Trump, and it makes Trump supporters mad when I say it, but no. I'm standing on this one. Trump knew it was rigged in 2016. His words literally were, his words, not mine, the system is rigged, but I won, so I don't care. That's what he said, which means he knew it was a rigged system, and I know things had changed. That's accurate, particularly with all the mail-in ballots. It changed. That's correct. At the same time, he could have made it better or fixed it, and he knew it was rigged. So that was the deal he was in. He believed he could win even though it was rigged. And I'll ask any of you a question if you're a Trump supporter. If Trump had won the election, would he have said, you know what, I won, but it was rigged. Let's fix it and redo? No. He would have accepted the win. So he has to accept the loss. He joined and played this game, and he would have accepted the win. He has to accept the loss. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying that's the agreement he made. He joined the rigged system, and if he would have won, he'd have said the same thing. He would have said, oh, it's rigged, but I won. Okay. It didn't. He has to accept that. So anyway, let me keep moving here again. Let's see. Invite Trump on your show. I don't think he'll come, but I would happily have him on my show. Happily have him on my show. Of course. If that would happen, of course I would. Yes. So, you are seeing more libertarians on Fox. That's true also. You're going to see more libertarians popping up because we're the only ones who both sides can kind of talk to, right? We're the only ones who they can talk to. That's really, really the issue. So, all right. I'm fine with people doing immigration legally, but not illegally. And see, there's my point, Alice. This is where Biden has failed horribly. He's just said, wall bad, taking it down. Okay, so what's the plan to keep the borders safe? What's the plan to have robust legal immigration? Where's that plan? And right now there isn't one. Right now there isn't one. It's DACA is one, and then take the wall down. Well, then why in the world would conservatives think you care about them when you haven't touched a big conservative issue, which is border security? Lots of conservatives, I would say probably 80-90% of conservatives care about border security. Why wouldn't you bring that up in some way, shape, or form? You don't want the wall? Okay. What do you got for me? Nothing? Well, then why would I be happy if I'm a conservative? And that's a problem. He definitely should have had a plan, without question. Yes. All right. I've seen a lot of libertarians make Gary Johnson out to be a bad candidate. Wouldn't he be a good direction for the party, seeing that broke down the philosophy in terms that doesn't scare people? Yeah, look, I'm a big Gary Johnson fan. People don't like him. I get it. I'm a big fan. He got the most votes we ever got, the biggest percentage we ever got. He's done the best we've ever done. Why would I be unhappy? He brought me into the party. I'm a big Gary Johnson fan. I wish he would have won in 2016. I wish we had been voting for him his second term now. That would have been great. I think we would have been a much better president than either Biden or Trump because he's much more libertarian than both of them. Absolutely. I would have happily had him. I don't think he's a bad president. If he run again, I'd support him again. I'd support him again. Absolutely, 100%. I totally would. He's done, though. He's done his bit. He's not going to do this again. But I totally would, 100%. I'm a big fan. Would you ever run for governor of New York again? I will make a decision this summer. This summer, I'll make a decision. All right. So, guys, I've been bad again talking so much. I haven't been good with my sponsors. I want to make sure I do talk about my sponsors as always. Please head over to theadvocates.org, the Human Respect Test. In the description, there is a link. Click that link. Take that test. It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Take the test for 3 minutes. Share it. It makes my sponsors happy. It makes me happy, and it's free. It's free, and you talk about respect. I've been talking about respect the entire show. This whole show has been about respect. So please take that test, pass it around, share it on Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Share it, and allow people to see it. Where do you stand on respect? It's important, theadvocates.org, and it's free. If you want to support the show, please throw some bucks my way. Patreon.com/Sharpe, $10, $25, $100, whatever you got. Throw it my way so I can keep doing this every single day. And the most important thing you can do over everything. So guys, stop yelling at me for having only 15 viewers on YouTube or whatever I had on that time. Like, comment, and share. All three. Click one of those buttons, whatever button you want. If you're mad at me, click the mad button. I don't care. Click one of those buttons on Facebook. Click the thumbs up on YouTube. Or if you hate me, click the thumbs down. You like what I said? I don't care. Click a button. Comment and share. They all matter. Please do that. They all matter. Guys, I say thank you so much for tonight. Tomorrow night, I'm going to have on comedian Chrissy Mayer, who was down in D.C. during the Capitol riots and protests. So that will be a good one. I will see you guys all